sit down. No, I'm just kidding.
Go on the phone with somebody back there.
We don't need Joe, do
And that's one of the, I was kind of figure out. You can go, you know, I'm saying, well, now,
This is Burnett County Workshop. Today is Tuesday, July 22nd. It is now 11:31. We are at the Burnett County Courthouse, 220 South Pierce Street, second floor courtroom, Burnett, Texas 78611. This is a workshop for discussion of budget items. Is there any public comment? This is for public comment of items not on the agenda. Sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you, Ms. Cope. I was just trying to make sure that we held to our rules of decorum. So, any public comment for items not on the agenda? Okay, good. I'll go ahead and get started. We'll review the 33rd and 424th District Court budget. I apologize, the judges have been in jury trial solid for the last several weeks, or really busy on their court dockets, and neither Judge Stubbs, as far as I know, I don't see him, and Judge Garrett weren't able to be here. They weren't able to complete the documents that we'd sent them earlier, but I did get from them a verbal request, and in your packet in A that was placed there this morning is just basically the FY25 budget that they want to continue, and there's no other than what we've done for all employees will apply to their folks as well, either step increases or the cost of living increases. There's nothing in their budget that they wanted to increase. On that second page, I think I've given you the auditor has run for you this morning kind of where we are on their overall strategies. Just remember about that budget, as I point out in the document, that it's a little tiny, 56.66% of these two courts are paid for by Burnett County. The others are divided between Blanco at 14.28%, Llano at 23.31%, and San Saba at 5.76%. So the last thing that is also inclusive for both the district courts as well as the county court at law is on the last page that I put in here. But the biggest user of these accounts are in fact the district courts. But I'm sure, Jamie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there might be one or two areas that the county court might draw more from. But so in the case of these items, you'll see that there's court reporter services. When you're going, wait a minute, well, you already have court reporters. Well, whenever there's a visiting judge or a conflict between a judge, then they'll have to bring in a court reporter service to service that. So that's why that's in there. Mental health evaluations, all the courts probably use those equally. Court-appointed attorneys, you're going, wait a minute, we have a public defender, why are we doing court-appointed attorneys? Well, if there's 2 or 3 defendants in a criminal case or criminal matter before the court, the public defender can only represent one of those cases. The other cases have to be have non-conflicted attorneys in there. So we do see that. You see that for criminal, juvenile, CPS. Now CPS is its own animal. When the state moves in to take custody of a child, that's done through a special court that's generally run out of Austin, through a network out of Austin, I should say, managed by the regional presiding judges. And then there's appellate records that courts are required. If somebody appeals, then the courts often have to pay for the appellate charges. Changes of venue, there's nothing there. And the jury payments, that when there's a jury trial, that the clerks have to pay the jurors based on a schedule set by statute. So luckily 99.3 cases never get to a jury trial. Is that something like that? It's been a while since I've kept up with the numbers. Yeah, you have a lot of juries. Okay, way too many juries. Okay. The court was requesting that we maybe consider a slight increase, 3 to 5% on this area, because we really are a fast-growing county. And commissioners, this third page is really a high-risk page when it comes to for the commissioners court, because if somebody commits a really serious crime and the courts have to constitutionally appoint mitigation specialists or some sort of additional expert witnesses, we have to pay whatever that is. So we're going to either solve the problem now where we have enough money in there you can see it's not been, we're over halfway through the year, we still have 40% left, but one case can turn this upside down. I've worked with counties all over the state over the years, and one case can just flip this entirely. So my recommendation is we go ahead and raise this consider, when we get to when the formal budget action, we should consider raising this about 5% just to keep up with our growth and minimize the likelihood that we'll end up in some sort of financial crisis later next year when something happens. So any questions? Are there any public comments? This is A.
Okay, so you have packets that I'm not looking at. So you're talking about adding 5% to which item?
Again, we're not taking action today. I'm just letting them know what the judges.
Yeah, it's a proposal.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's the part in the budget called judicial services.
So would that be under A1? on the agenda?
Okay, I'm trying to,
Because I'm tracking, I'm listening based on the agenda. I don't have a packet.
it would be A5, district-wide issue.
A5, so you're talking about adding 5% in case, okay.
This
Thank
would be
you.
things like the court reporters, the mental health evaluations, court-appointed attorneys, different things. So. And I just, for clarification, I just want to say, while the judges' operations, the salaries and everything are proportioned out to the 4 counties equal, according to population, the judicial services portion of the budget is Burnett counties alone. In other words, we do not share mental health evaluations or court-appointed attorneys with any other county in our jurisdiction. All right. Any questions? Anything else you want to know about that? Probably more than you wanted to know. Apologize. Okay. Okay. I call agenda item number B, or item B, County Court at Law, statutory requirements. Do you want to present anything? You don't have to, but.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but if you have questions, I'm here for what but it's very basic.
The only increase is the statutory requirement to increase the judge's salary, basically,
And the court reporters.
and the court, right.
And then I did request can we go, I'm sorry.
That's okay. State your name for the record, for the recording.
Jamie Ingram, I'm the court coordinator for the County Court of Law. So yes, to answer, it's the statutory court reporter increase as well as the judge. And then I did request a 2-step increase for our assistant court coordinator in the same group, but up 2 steps. Yes, same group, just basically it's like a $1 increase. So, and then the other increase is in 14250-4250. That one's the visiting judge travel. Currently, we had it set at 7,000. We're already, as y'all know, Judge Henson was very, successful practicing private attorney, which results in the need for more visiting judges when he has a conflict. So that number is just getting close. We have less than 20% left, so that's why I asked for the increase to $10,000 from $7,000, just for future. And I think that was it.
What is this? Maybe what's G? It just says G underneath that.
I don't know. Let me see, hold on.
At the bottom.
Underneath visiting judges, it says G, and it says
As another item, I know, it's like it just cut it, because that's the printout
cut something
from,
off.
let me see. Visiting judge, travel. My 4270 on my page says conference dues training. So I think that just didn't get pulled in
That G goes with training.
with training, and then the next line just, that one just wasn't there.
I got it.
But yes, that 4270, that is no increase requested, and that's our conference travel.
Either that or we're with Texas, we're training, not training, we're training.
Training.
I've been training you.
Okay,
you.
thank you. Any other questions?
Is there any liability by the county for the statutory court reporter that wasn't being paid at the legal rate or something? That's kind of the way I understand it. There was a court reporter that was being underpaid. This was mentioned at the last meeting on Thursday over at AgriLife. And so I'm wondering if there's back pay that's required, that should be included in the budget.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, well, I guess I did have, you have something else?
Well, I was gonna,
No. No, thank you.
I turned everything in.
All right, thank you. Okay, here's my judicial services. I guess I called item C is judicial services. I guess I jumped the gun here. So, and I've already covered that. So unless there's any questions, I'll move on to item E, district clerk. No, I'm sorry.
County clerk.
D, county clerk. D, county clerk.
You can go to Casey first.
Well, the way I turned that, I'm in the habit of turning the meeting upside down like I did last week.
Jacinta Stafford, County Clerk. There's not a lot changing on mine. If you'll notice on the only additions really to my regular budget, I would like to add a overtime budget of $500. I don't have a budget for that right now, and after speaking with the judge, we kind of talked about that, and it's good to maybe have it, not use it, but necessarily, but if we needed it, it could be there. I don't have any exempt employees, so like during the flood, I had to call in a staff member to come in and do some stuff, and she just flexed that out. I would like to be able, if she takes her weekend or something, to actually pay her overtime. And we used to have overtime, and then it went to comp time, and then it never got put back in there. So I'm just asking for $500 to be put into overtime. And then my other request is kind of minimal, I believe, but I would like to get new technology of a cell phone that's county-owned. Over the last couple years, I've realized I do a lot of communication between commissioners, judges, coordinators, attorneys, and people like that, and I feel it's time that I roll all of those activities into a county-owned phone versus my personal phone. The county auditor's office did tell me it would be $40 a month, so $480 a year, so I'm asking for, I put $500 just to be safe. In terms of that, that's all in my regular budget that I have changing or requesting to change. Now on my records management, I am keeping the majority of it the same. My support and licensing fees is at $85,000, which just so y'all know, Tyler Eagle, I pay $57,000 a year for my recording software out of my records management fund. I also pay $4,000 a year for the Agenda Quick software that we use for Commissioners Court. And I pay $3,000 a year for the FIDLAR property fraud software that we provide to the constituents of Burnett County. They can apply and get notified if someone files on their behalf. Those things all are under my, support and licensing fees. So I'm keeping those the same. My operating supplies, I'm keeping the same as well under that because that's, I rent my copier and that's paid for out of there. And then the other one under that, no, now I'm going to go into Records Archive. In Records Archive, if you'll notice on y'all's sheet, it says Records Archive Supplement. There's a $7,874. That's for the 11% of my second chief deputy that we added last year. It says $7,874. Obviously, that would need to go up with the 11% of the 3% and 2% COLA and step. So it would be a little more than that. And then next, if you look down under professional services under archive, for the last 4 years, we've paid $110,000 for the co-file project. That is completed now. I did not request $110,000 to be put in here this year. So I would like to maybe keep $10,000 in there and the other $1,000 roll in so that it can start being invested. I don't want to keep it in the budget and not be invested. So if you can make note of that, we can keep $10,000 in there for anything we might come across for archive, but the $100,000 I would like to go back to be invested with my text pools. And then addition in my records archive, I did add an operating supplies line. So once again, my chief deputy, we had all those books archived or digitized last year, and we are in the process of working on a software, in-office software that allows us to actually be able to search those records for ourselves, and it's going to require some hard drives and things like that to store this documents on, so I put $5,000 just in case we need to buy some stuff to store these items on. And what else?
Can I ask you a question on that
Yes, sir.
issue? So are you working, I know, we're right in the middle of this switch router project, and then, we're buying some additional servers. Will this fit into our server world, and especially if we're working on, moving IT across the street, having a server world over there? Would that?
I actually did talk to Mr. Harris yesterday, because we were trying to order some just hard drives, things like that. I called and asked what the best method of that would be. We're meeting either this week or 2 weeks from now. He does believe he's going to be able to build in a very secure aspect for us that, and I told him we would be happy to pay for that addition out of this $5,000 or whatever we might need. But yes, we are trying to work with them. I will need like hard drives separate of that I have to secure in a safe. But in terms of an actual place on the server, that's kind of the goal, is we're going to try to come up with somewhere to put that on the server and not just on hard drives.
Good.
So I have been speaking with him about that.
Because that would also mean, because one of the things, we're trying to raise our security profile for backups and making sure that there's ways to long-term protection. So that's good. Thank you.
In terms of our performance-based budget stuff, you always probably see that in there. Our output measures, the county clerk's office, you can see those numbers. Everything's about steady this year. It looks like it's going to fall on the same lines as the previous 2 years. And then our outcome measures, as always, CJIS completeness compliance. Our goal is always to be 90% compliant by the August deadline. That affects all the grant funding for Burnett County. So we do our best to try to get that much closer to 95% or so, and it's usually done way before August. So that's our goal, obviously. And then 100% of our staff has completed the CJIS security and training. And then the next one, which is state law driven, but percentage of our records that are filed within 1 business day is 100%. So we clean out every queue that we have and get everything filed as quickly and efficiently as we can. The only other thing I would like to just address, just because it's on mine and Casey's. So last year, we did request for our chief deputy position to go from a 65 to a 66, and that was graciously approved. This adjustment resulted in the majority of the positions of that grade level being reevaluated to a 66 due to the review of the job descriptions being similar. So given this, with respect, that if you're going to consider elevating the other positions in 66 to a 69, please also consider the chief deputy positions that were included, to be included in that as well. We did not include that on our budget because we didn't know anyone else was proposing that until after the hours were already due, but there's been some other positions in the 66 that last year were deemed to be comparable and compatible. So if you're going to consider, we'd be happy if you would consider ours as well. So, any questions? Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, now I call agenda item E, District.
I can still say good morning
Yeah.
for the next 5 minutes. Casey Walker, District Clerk. I would like to just get up here and say same or ditto, because V and I worked together on this for a couple weeks, and yeah, so it really is pretty much the same. I think the only difference would be archive, because that's a whole animal to herself. And then office supplies, jury, so that's a $4,500, $3,100. I did decrease that by $500 with our new jury system. I'm not seeing that we're having to, we've only been on it just over a year, and I'm not seeing that I'm spending a whole lot in that particular line item. So I took out 500 and just kind of placed it with the cell phone. I think it's time to get accounting on cell phone as well. More and more with judges and court security and attorneys and things like that, that communication needs to be separate from my personal phone. So the only other question that I had actually for y'all was in the district clerk errors and omissions, 180, 4504, 4100. There's $1,000. It looks like maybe there was a 2,500 before, and now there's 1,000, and I'm not real sure what that's for. Is that for my bond? I think V had this in hers as well.
On 180, is that?
Yeah, 180. Mhm.
Okay. Errors and admissions, the $2,500, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there's a $2,500 in the,
Yeah, I mean, we can get with the auditor and find that out,
Sure.
but we just copied whatever was in.
yeah, that's in the current total
when
budget.
When we provided the electronic budget, that's,
Yeah.
just like.
Okay, that would be my only question, because I don't think our bond premium is paid out of our errors and omissions. I think it's paid out of county funds, so.
Mine's the same.
Okay, so we need to check it both. Okay, good.
Just as far as output and outcome, same as Vicenta, CJIS, completeness, compliance, and we do juvenile also, so juvenile JJIS, that compliance. As of June 1st, and this is a countywide effort, but as of June 1st, 93% for adult and 94% for juvenile, and then all my staff has completed the CJIS security and training. You can see my numbers of cases filed, cases disposed. You see a jump between 23 and 24 for the e-filing documents processed, and that's because we went mandatory with criminal e-filing, and so we took a big jump there. And we're on trend to probably increase that this year. Passport applications, that brings in some money for the county, and we're right about where we would be normally through this time of year. And then we talked about jury a little bit earlier. I do feel like we're calling in more jurors. My office is the jury managing office, and we call for all the courts in the county. When I went to this new system, we did not re-up our contracts with City of Burnett and City of Marble Falls because it was going to be too time extensive, and they're calling their own now, which I think is good. But yeah, so we're sending quite a bit of jury summons out and having tried quite a bit of jury trials. So, and then I would just reiterate what Vicenta said. We were, that was gracious enough last year to increase our chief deputies to a new grade. But if y'all are going to consider that same line item, I certainly don't want to not ask for my chief. So couldn't do my job without her. Any questions?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I call agenda item number F, Justice of the Peace Precinct 1.
Good afternoon. I'm Roxanne, it's almost noon. Roxanne Nelson,
So-
Justice of the Peace Precinct 1.
Can I ask a question? So
Certainly.
I know Judge Whitehead and Judge Riley notified me that they had conflicts with today. Are you going to be speaking for everybody, or is it individual? individual, or what should we do?
Specific to each's budgets are going to be a little, should be generally the same. There are some items that we're going to speak to that cover all of this.
Okay.
And we'll point that out to you.
All right, so what I'd like to do is just go ahead and call all 4 items, and then we can just mash it up.
That
Is
works.
that all right?
That works.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and call agenda item number F, Justice of the Peace Precinct 1, agenda item number G, Justice of the Peace Precinct 2, H, Justice of the Peace Precinct 3, I, Justice of the Peace Precinct 4.
Okay. I'm going to start with just a couple items that are...
I'm going to interrupt one more time. Go ahead and say your name for the record.
Jane Marie Hurst, Precinct 3, Bigview.
Now we're good.
A couple of things that are specific to my budget. Last year in the fall, the magistrate's office wanted to hire a part-time clerk, and there was no money available for that. So I gave up part of my budget in a line item transfer out of my part-time clerk position, ending with me only having $20,255 in that line. And that is $145,1070. I'd like that money to be put back into my budget this year in case I do hire a part-time clerk, which without any new considerations for COLA or steps, that would be $26,955.
That's not an increase, though. That was in your original budget.
Correct.
Okay.
It somehow, though, didn't continue to populate as being part of my budget.
No, it is on my copy.
And then operating supplies, I did not get a new copier, and the auditor moved the cost of the new copier into my operating supplies, which is $145,10, $3,300. We can take that out and make my office, my operating supplies an even $3,000, so that's a reduction in my cost. Also, I believe that I'm the only office that's being put in a lease space now, and that's $24,000 a year. I'm not sure why that has to show up in my budget since it's not something I requested. Can it not be put in something else so it doesn't look like I'm spending $24,000 more than everyone else? Is there not another place for that? I'm thinking general fund.
Okay, thank you for pointing that out.
And then as far as my outcomes, I didn't bring them with me, but I can tell you that over the last couple of years, my criminal cases have been decreasing. I believe that I have found the source of that decrease, that DPS does not have the precincts mapped correctly. And so when they write a ticket, I always thought they looked at a book and they wrote the name of the judge in it, but it's tied to their GPS. So they pull someone over and their system automatically generates the citation in what is supposed to be the correct court. And so for the last couple of years, they're not recognizing Precinct 1. Mine have been primarily going to Precinct 2 for some reason. So if you look at Judge Whitehead's, her criminal cases have increased, while mine have decreased significantly. My civil cases, though, are still on that same general trend of increasing year by year. I can tell you our disposition rate is still the same. We're still disposing of our cases as quickly as we can as far as statutory requirements. But that is why I only have one clerk, whereas the other offices have two. I don't have the workload because I'm not receiving those criminal cases, if that makes sense.
Has that been rectified at DPS yet?
Well, I talked to them a few weeks ago, and they said they had rectified it, but I can't see that yet. I haven't seen an increase in citations, so I'm thinking that possibly it has not been rectified.
I'm curious, the line on 281.
She gets the west side, I get the east side.
Well, down low, but
Likewise
for
with
2 and 1,
Lafayette, yeah.
it's like, is it specific enough that Lisa gets northbound traffic and you get southbound traffic?
So it looks like they've almost eliminated Precinct 1 altogether. Like 1431 doesn't come close to Precinct 2,
Right.
but she's getting all of my 1431 tickets.
Oh,
So
I thought it was like just because of 281.
also some West 29. Of course, I do have some West 29, but further out west, she's getting those as well. So they said it is a glitch or there's something wrong in their mapping, and so I just haven't been getting those citations. And anyone who can help
So let's
further it along
let's
to get
with,
that balance.
Sergeant Roy, when, not today, but let's
Right.
come back and see me. Let's get Sergeant Roy over here.
I mean, I'll tell you that we're bored, and I ask around the county, is there anything we can do to help y'all? Because we are sometimes bored, while as Lisa Whitehead's office is a little bit overwhelmed. So I'd like to see it, I'd like to have some more work to do, and I'd like for her office not to be overwhelmed. So if we can get that corrected, that would be great.
And I'm going to interject at this moment, likewise, my precinct, I've had the same thing, them going to precinct 2, DPS, but also a couple of deputies. They didn't know. We even corrected one deputy. I'm not going to name him because he's a good guy. He just was told otherwise. He was told otherwise. An area that he was giving to 4 and not to 3. So I think there needs to be a general across the sheriff's department as well as the DPS about, okay, let's make sure everybody understands what precincts get what. But Roxanne and I have oddly discovered that 2 and 4 are getting what
Our tickets.
ours should be in ours. So.
Okay, good.
Right. And then as far as any salary increases, I didn't put anything in there until we had the discussion about COLA and steps. Last year, we did not get a step for our clerks, so we would like to have 2 steps this year. We didn't realize we needed to make that specific request. I thought that it was, if we turned in the evaluations and they were favorable, you automatically gave those steps. So my single clerk has always been an excellent clerk, so I would ask for an increase of 2 steps. And then this year, they also statutorily were required to start handling youth diversion, which is a whole new program in the state of Texas, and the clerks are solely responsible for taking lead in that new program. So I would like COLA and 2 steps for my clerk. And I'd also like to...
Can I clarify that just a second? So, we're still in this year for FY '25. So are you telling me that that whatever step increase that has been authorized by the previous commissioner or this commissioner's court for this year, or last, what is that, August, that you have not given a step increase to your employee for this FY '25?
That is correct. She received only the COLA.
Okay.
I thought it was an automatic process because we were told, turn in the evaluations, because without the evaluations, there will be no step increase.
And
So turning in the evaluation, I thought, was the request,
okay.
and all she received was the COLA this year. And I
Well, let's talk to HR within the next day or two, because I think there might be a problem here. So
And then also, there is that additional work that they need to do in youth
understand, but I'm
diversion.
just saying, for this year, let's talk about that soon.
And then when we start talking about different departments, our clerks do everything. I just want to be clear, and I don't know if you have a graphic for it, but when you talk about something that's filed in district court or county court at law, you have entire departments that support those courts. You have the prosecutor's office, and you have the clerk's offices that support those offices, those courts. There are multiple employees in each of those departments that are support for those courts. We don't have support. Our clerks do all of it. If there's a position in the district or county clerk's offices that do something for those courts, our clerks do that. It's not parted out to employees in a department. Our clerks have to know everything about a criminal case, and the filing, the processing, and the disposition and appeal. And they have to know everything about a civil case, the filing, the process, the disposition and appeal of those. They have no support. They have to know all of the laws. They have to know all of the processes and procedures that they do alone. In my case, my clerk is doing it literally alone with my support. So if you're going to start reclassifying you're going to have to reclassify our clerks because you could call them whatever you want. Is my clerk the director of my office? She is the director of my office. Is my clerk the office manager of my office? She is absolutely the office manager of my office. Our clerks wear multiple hats in order to keep the JP offices operating efficiently. I hate to see this continued progression of reclassifying people, and it's not based necessarily on the work that they're doing, but maybe the person they work for and what is perceived as this is maybe a more glorious office, and those people should be paid more than people in an office that maybe isn't. So I'd like y'all to take that into consideration. We cannot just keep bumping people up in categories because of who they work for or what the position looks like it does. It needs to be based on what are they actually doing, what is their level of knowledge and proficiency in running these court offices.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Similarly, with regards to the step up, last year when we went through the budget and they got the COLA and the steps and all that stuff, so later in the fall, that's when I wanted to advance my clerks because we knew of this new statutory requirement that was going into place January 1 amongst their, what's that word I was using? Merit-based type thing. So I called HR and I said, okay, I want to move them up one. And she said, oh, you can't do that. I said, what? And she said, no, you can't do it in the middle of the year. You have to do it only during budgeting. It's like, it's there for a purpose to acknowledge something. So to my point, that's why I am also asking to go up 2 steps right now. And to clarify, if you think there's something that HR misunderstood or whatever, I would like to know, because if this is the only time that someone can get advanced for something, then I'll keep that in mind each year as we come through this process. But that's why I'm asking for them to be bumped up twice as well. And I couldn't agree any more with what Judge Nelson just shared with what our clerks do. And by example, even by the Burnett County's annual comprehensive financial report, and it has 10 years of numbers that brings, based on the number of cases filed and disposed of in district court, county court, and JP court. Ours are considerably more. We know that for very many reasons, but the point is our workload is our workload. It is what it is. I'm not asking or whining for anything. I just want acknowledgement for it for our clerks and what they do, because they are our backbone of our support.
Good.
There was something else I wanted to share. I'm going to, maybe not the right moment, but since I've got the microphone. I've been talking to several of y'all independently regarding looking at JP boundary districts. To this point, also, with support.
I'm going to have to interject. This is just a workshop to review your budget. I mean, this really don't want to.
But it affects the budget.
Okay.
It affects the budget in spreading out what is incurred in each office because of how much work she has or doesn't have versus each of the other ones. Our county over the past 10 years has increased by 21% based on what the county is. And in the past 4 years, it's been 15% alone. We need to look at where that growth is at so that we can realign the boundaries for the JP districts more accordingly to even out
The work.
supposedly the
Okay.
workload.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yep, thank you.
And although I didn't ask for any raise for me, also not asking for any decrease, but just to get the COLA like everybody else is. And then would this be where I would address the other items that I need that are not an ongoing budget item?
No, not, I mean, for this one is just about the budget workshop, but you can put, as an elected official, you can notify me of other issues you want to discuss at future meetings, whether workshops or regular meetings.
Well, it was requested in the request of budget workshop paperwork we were required to put out, and that was specific to 3 new executive chairs because the ones that we have are broken and worn, and then replacing the carpet in my office.
Oh, yeah, those
That's
are,
what I-
but, I'm sorry, what, the 3 chairs?
Yes.
Yes, yes, we're,
The carpet in my office.
yes, those are definitely things for the budget workshop, so.
And we know that Judge Whitehead and Judge Riley put a lot of thought into their budget request, and we want to just say that we support their request. And similarly with our clerks, they feel the same way that we do. So,
To clarify, I've asked for 2 steps plus COLA for my clerks, not just one or the other.
well, and it wasn't until the budget workshop last week that I realized that they are 2 just separate things. Because again, last year, we just kind of, we're doing COLA. It's like, we didn't know we could request the steps. So yes, COLA and the 2-step, yes.
And I might be wrong, but I thought the steps were budgeted.
You thought they were?
Yeah.
I don't think,
And then it's your choice to give it or not. I knew that
that's the
part.
way it should be. I know that Vicenta spoke about, she likes to evaluate her employees throughout the year and give them those steps, which she thinks are appropriate.
I think we can get
agree
that
with her. That's the
modified.
way that I.
Yeah, like I said, if y'all will see me after,
Yeah.
I mean, not after this meeting, I have to go somewhere, but just get a hold of me quickly, and I think we can fix that.
Right.
If not, we'll come back to Commissioners Court and fix it.
Thank you so
For
much.
this year.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
I guess that was kind of my question is, we can't move a step up, or any department can't move a step up without Commissioners Court or without it being budgeted?
Well, it's got to be budgeted.
I thought we budgeted the
I
next
mean,
step.
where you can go, like, in the middle of the year, if I've got a guy that's doing outstanding work, I can't bump him up to the next step.
I thought.
I have to wait.
I was under the impression that if we built that into the budget and it was approved in the budget, the step could then be allocated at any point in the year. If somebody meant merit for you.
So like my foreman, I would have to be thinking ahead if I'm going to give him a raise.
Right. Yeah, you can't
Instead
give
of-
them a raise if you don't have it budgeted.
That's what I'm saying. I thought the steps were built into the budget. They always budget at the maximum amount, and then whether you gave it or not.
That was my understanding. Shirley's not here, but we'll have to bring that back for discussion, because the thing is, like in Judge Nelson's case, she's got money in her budget, so I don't know what in other words, she didn't hire a part-time clerk, so she's got a pot of money that even if it wasn't, but again, I'll talk to Shirley.
We can fix it.
Give me a little time to get out of this meeting, and then we'll confer with HR and kind of confirm that. But the expectation as we look at the budget is that we're adopting a budget with a COLA, like what we did at the meeting the other day, is adopt a budget and a step increase, a COLA and a step increase for each department, and that's what the money has to be filled in on. So anyway.
Just to reiterate, I believe that what moved forward to my budget was a COLA only.
Okay.
Just let me
we can
look
fix
at
it.
it. Let me look at it.
You're saying it was a COLA?
No, it's the full amount.
And a step?
Now, whether,
Yeah, thank you.
So we didn't have to request the step?
Vicenta Stafford, I don't want to speak for HR, but I am one of the offices that does not give everyone in my office their step raise on the first day of the new fiscal year. And the way I do it is I send in an email and say, so they're budgeted at whatever step. So I just looked at yours and the other 3. The only one that's different is Jane Marie's because her employee had less years of service. So all of y'all's were set at a step 7, which is as high as they could go in a year. Now, whether or not they're getting paid at that step 7, that I can't tell you. But my employees, I have some that were at a 4, some that were at a 6, some that were at a 7. That's because of their years of service. They can't be paid more than that. But here comes Shirley. She's listening. But
Not me.
so I was under the understanding, and I think that's what everyone else's understanding is the step is set in the budget for every employee. Now Shirley can answer whether or not every employee gets it unless we request not to, or, because that's what I do. I was under the understanding that all my employees moved up to a step 7, minus the ones that I requested not to move to their step. So,
That is absolutely correct. We budget.
Name,
what-
please.
Shirley Bullard, Human Resources. We budget for the maximum that the court sets with the COLA and the step. And generally, I send out a sheet with all of your employees on there and what they're making now and what we have budgeted. And it's up to the departments to tell us if they don't want to raise. Otherwise, they get the next step.
So,
I don't. It's been a while. I don't remember getting that.
Melissa got every step that was budgeted
Okay.
for 24, 25, 26, and then I stopped and walked over. So,
And so the same would have happened with Jane Marie?
absolutely.
So we need to budget at the highest amount, is what I.
That's what we
We're
do.
always going to budget at the highest amount.
That's exactly what
So
we do.
we budget at the highest step
available.
available. So if they're at a 4, and we budget up to a 7, so anytime during the year,
5.
you
Just-
go up 1 step
Just one step a year.
per year.
We're not that rich.
That's why, what we did the other day is, that's why we were trying to work on that, because what I'm working with the auditor right now to get, hopefully by the next Tuesday, you're going to get a, we'll start, what Joe Don was saying in the meeting was, I want to start seeing what this looks like. And the reason we were trying to identify the COLA and the steps, and then she's working on longevity, is because those are the 3, that's most of our budget right there, right? For the whole year. That's most of our budget. So once we see what that looks like, then everybody is, we'll start now. After this meeting, we'll start being able to put together, we still have the sheriff's meeting, I think, Tuesday. Thursday, excuse me, of this week. And then that's the last one to go through for our workshops. And then we'll be able, by next Tuesday, to really start to see what our budget looks like. Okay?
So every budget year, just to clarify for me, we budget for every employee a 1-step increase if we want it.
And the
That's the budget.
and the elected official or department head makes a
Can-
decision,
gives that or
either
not.
give it or not.
Okay.
And if you don't get, if they
you don't give it
don't
to
get
them-
it now, they can get it anytime within the budget year, whenever you decide they deserve it.
Okay. You don't have to really go out and ask for it unless you want to go up 2 steps. Then you have
Which
to
you
come
can't,
back.
right, you have to come back to
to
commission.
here.
You have to, it has to be approved in court to get more than 1 step.
All right.
So I still make a request for 2 steps since our clerks, since everybody gets the automatic 1 step, since our clerk statutorily did have to take on that huge job of youth diversion, they still have 2 steps.
Well, that would be 3 steps in?
Yes, let's do that.
But
No, that's
aren't
what I'm saying,
your,
you get an automatic 1 and you're asking for 2 steps.
Yeah, that's the way I see it too, because right now, for this budget, we want our clerks to be paid 2 steps up, which means that y'all will be budgeting for 3 steps up from where we're at.
so quick question, like is Melissa at a 7 already?
Yes.
So there's no steps for her to, like, she's maxed out?
She's
So
maxed
you're
out for
you're
this
asking for a
year.
reclass?
No, because my understanding with steps is that we were going to keep adding steps throughout the years.
We're about to be at an 8.
That's right, the workshop, the last workshop had the new classification that included step 8.
That's correct.
You don't get reclassed, they keep adding on more steps for.
Well, at some point, we have to stop adding steps because you've been here 10 years and you're at step 10. And you either just settle for getting a COLA every year or you change jobs. You apply for something that's going to pay more.
I understand, but
That's not what we're
you
here
can't
for
ask for
today.
a step beyond an 8 without asking for a reclass. Because there won't be a step 9. Nobody gets a step 9.
Step 9's not added until next year. If we add a step 9 next year, if we have the money.
You gentlemen are tasked with figuring this whole thing out. I appreciate the work that you do, and I appreciate you just considering our request, however format we take. Thank you very much.
I got to point out the request for extra overtime in anticipation of the maternity leave, but that's in my request.
It's all done.
All right, thank you. Public comment. Are you going to demand, since I'm doing 4 at a time, is that 12 minutes? Is that what you're?
Yeah, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, I'm just
It's
asking.
kind of you. Commissioner Luther, would you mind sharing these with your table names here? So one thing I'm noticing is that I'm the only taxpayer who's not an employee of the county who is speaking. And I tend to be a fiscal conservative, so what I'm going to say really, really rubs me the wrong way. I just want y'all to know that. Back in 2019, at this Commissioners Court meeting that Judge Oakley presided over, where he said the HR committee met, in the big paragraph on page 1, it says that this, hot off the press yesterday, was something that was published that had the commissioners at a little bit lower level than the justices of the peace. Now, I know that the justices of the peace don't want to raise, but as a, for, I don't want to say equity, but for fairness, in 2019, the commissioners were making less than the JPs. So that's a very interesting baseline. Then at this meeting, the judge took the initiative to equalize the commissioners with the JPs. Okay. And if you read down a little bit further, it just says, I thought it was the right thing to do, and we had an HR director here who said that, you know, this is, for Judge Wilson, this is stuff, this is history that you probably aren't aware of. This has been going on for a long time. So at this meeting, they equalized, raised the commissioner's pay based on the HR committee. They raised the commissioner's pay up to the JP level. Were you all here then in 2019? You remember? Okay. So now we have commissioners making a certain amount that's more than what the JPs are making, and the JPs say we don't want to raise. But if you look at the history of how the commissioners' salaries got to where they are and JPs stayed where they are, there's an imbalance in my mind as a taxpayer. Also, this whole step thing, step and merit, step and grade, I believe it's what it's called. Ms. Bullard said at the last meeting that it's merit-based. So as a taxpayer, I'm wondering, every employee in the county always gets an automatic merit increase and a COLA. If you look back to 2020 and you add up the COLA and the merits, the steps, and they're calling them steps, why don't we just call them merits? Everybody gets a merit increase. You're at 39%. That's not compounded, that's cumulative. So in 6 years, 39% increase in your, in our county taxpayer-based payroll. So I think you're at about $1 million a month now in payroll. And if this keeps going at this rate, I don't think it's sustainable, especially with the property tax rollbacks that they're talking about doing in this special session. The fact that the economy's kind of slowing down a little bit here in Burnett County. Longer days on the market, prices are dropping a little bit. We're seeing a little bit of that. So, but I do want to ask how we went from the JPs who have dockets and legal obligations and run a court, how they have...
3 minutes is up, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So,
I'm going to just go ahead and finish up what I was saying.
Go ahead.
I also think that you have disproportionate gaps between your chiefs and your elected officials. So the JPs have somebody who runs all of their departments, and then we have other elected officials who have next in command. But there's some departments, there's a huge gap between the elected official and their next in command's pay, and in some departments, there's a very little gap. So I think that it's still not right. And I think that it's a big deal. If you look at page 3 here, Commissioner Byerly
Time's up, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Byerly actually said you get everything out of whack if you don't stick with the policy.
All right, thank you. Call agenda item number J, item J, magistrate.
Hi, Tamara Tenney, Chief Magistrate. So I know it's 12:30 and y'all are probably hungry and ready to go, so I'll try to be quick. I do have some increases. Operating supplies, I increased from 2,200 to 3,000 with the extra person in there and ink cartridges and different things like that. I want to make sure that we have enough for that. And the phone was at $960. I just put it at an even 1,000, just in case there's anything that comes up. We're already down to 3.81% when I got this form from y'all. And then travel and mileage, I bumped up to 1,000. With the clerk, she is going to some trainings about resources and different things like that. It's not necessarily going to be trainings where she's going to be paying a training fee and staying overnight, but more just traveling to Austin and places like that to go to these seminars. And then I added the professional services, $2,000 for the language line. We signed that contract not that long ago, and we got that up and going. At this point, I don't know exactly how much it's going to cost us, so I put it at $2,000, and then after this year, I'll have a better idea of where we're at. I'm hoping it won't be near that much, but I wanted to be safe on that. I also wanted to, real quick, talk about SB 2878. So I mentioned it in my position budget request, and I'm watching it. It was vetoed, but it is now in special session. So it's an omnibus bill, and in there we found that they have changed where right now Commissioners Court can appoint a magistrate as long as they have been or are a municipal judge or JP.
So this came back up, the statute came back up in the special session?
It did.
The governor added it?
It did, and so I had talked to Colleen, and you know, when I found out about it, she was unaware of it. I also spoke to Judge Nelson, since I know she's had a lot to do with this. She wasn't aware of it. So she started an email thread with Catherine from Ellen Troxclair's office and a couple of other people, and so they're aware that, well, let me step back. So what they've done is they've kind of cleaned some stuff up, but when they did that, all of the counties that have it where the Commissioners Court can appoint a magistrate, they have changed it to where now, instead of y'all just being able to make the determination of JP, municipal judge, therefore we can get our training, and that's all it takes to be the magistrate. They've changed it to where you're going to have to be an attorney for a minimum of 2 years to be the magistrate, which is going to be a significant increase in pay, things like that, for y'all to be able to get attorneys. It does have a caveat in there, like, we are still safe if you were appointed under the previous rules. You're kind of grandfathered in. But my concern is when I retire, when Kristen retires, hopefully we make it that far, then y'all would be tasked with finding an attorney to be the magistrate in both positions. And so again, that's going to be a huge increase in pay. So we're working on getting them to retro that back to what it was. if this bill goes through. Like I said, it was vetoed, special session started yesterday, and this is one of the bills that's being looked at. So, as of last night, I didn't see any changes on anything or any updates.
Just to make sure we're on the same page, currently Vernon County has its own statute that was created a magistrate's office years ago. Normally, magistrates in most counties are done by the JP courts. And somewhere 10, 12 years ago, they created a specific statute just for Vernon County to have a magistrate.
We actually did an interlocal agreement, I believe, back in the day.
Okay.
When the JPs began to refuse to do magistrate, we had to hire a magistrate to do it, and we didn't have the authority to do that, so we did it through an interlocal agreement with the city of Granite Shoals for a while we actually got the state to amend the law to where we
Just want to
could
make sure
hire a
everybody
magistrate.
understands. And so now there's been a law passed, or there was a law passed in the last regular session, and it's back up where it repealed all the different provisions of that section of the government code to take out all the different kinds of magistrates and to create one kind of streamlined magistrate process for the whole state. So any county now, where years ago Vernon had to write its own statute to have a magistrate, not the JP, now there will be one process for the whole thing. And so, anyway, but that, as far as that aside, then that could affect future budgets. But
Right.
for this budget, you're asking for both the increase in your position,
Yes.
and then the magistrate that's your, I guess, assistant magistrate, and then also your clerk. Is that
Right.
correct?
I'm asking for my clerk to go full-time so that she can keep up with everything, and then also work on this resource packet that we're doing to try to help the individuals, not only that we divert, but that maybe don't meet diversion, but they need help. So asking for her to go full-time. And then, yes, an increase. So, Kristen she is not my assistant or my clerk. She is a magistrate. She is a judge. She makes when it comes to magistration, she does everything that I do. There's no difference there. Then, on top of that, I'm department head and have other responsibilities, of course, with that. But Kristen, originally the group for magistrate was 68, and then when she was hired, she was put at a 65, and I know at that point I had a discussion with HR and the previous judge a few months in when I was trying to figure some things out with that, and they had realized that they had listed her more as an administrative assistant, which she is not, and so I'm just trying to work on getting her back to where she is a magistrate. She does have all those decision-making skills. Also putting her at salary. Right now, she's getting a little bit of overtime between my vacation, which now we've got Judge Nelson trained up so she can fill in when we need her. But also holidays. When we have a holiday, magistration doesn't stop. We're still working. We are still seeing everybody. That ends up with a little bit of overtime. I'd like to put her at salary. I did talk to HR to see if she meets those qualifications and discussed it with Judge Wilson as well. She does appear to meet those qualifications. That was the finding that we had. I think that will save a lot of issues there as well.
Okay, thank you. All right. Any public comment? All right. Any other questions, comments? Okay. I call this meeting adjourned. Workshop. Adjourned.